Another month has gone by, and you know with another month, we're going to have another reset of the Tower of Adversity. So why don't we go ahead, give all of the floors a bit of a go, take a look at those buffs, and make a bit of a conclusion on how the game state has evolved over the past 28 days. Starting off with the middle tower first, because that's typically where the most exciting buffs are, let's go ahead and get into what the enemy and buff design is looking like. So, our very first thing to note right off of the bat is that we're going to have a Havoc and Spectral Resistance decrease for the next 28 days. Makes quite a bit of sense considering that Frolova is the next unit on banner, but the whole Spectral Res thing doesn't make a huge amount of sense, especially considering that the second half characters are going to be Brant and Cantarella. If anything, it probably would have made more sense to have Fusion on here, knowing that Brant is on the second half's banner. But, you know, Kuro Games can do whatever Kuro Games feels like. Maybe Fusion and Havoc Resistance is going to be the next reset 28 days from now. We'll see. Glacio and Electro are going to be the weaker elements. And so we're going to expect that with, you know, enemies like the Sentry Construct showing up in the first half. And then a whole slew of mobs in the second half. We'll see just how much AoE you need over here. Now let's get into the actual floor effect for this middle tower. When Resonators cast an Echo skill, their damage dealt increases by 15% up to 2 times. The same Resonator with identical echoes cannot trigger this effect repeatedly. At 2 stacks, when Resonators deal damage, they will also launch an area attack that deals 800% Havoc damage triggered once every 10 seconds. This is both a combination of a very specific buff, but then also a very, you know, general buff as well. Essentially, every single character in the game should be able to activate this 15% damage bonus just from using an Echo skill, but there are only going to be a couple of characters in the game that will be able to fully max out its effect and actually trigger this 800% Havoc damage bonus. The only characters that will be able to do it will be Rosia, Cantarella, and for the purposes of this demo, we'll put in Camellia for Frolova. These are the only units in the game that will be able to trigger it, and believe me, I'm pretty sure when you combine all 3 of these together, assuming this is Frolova, you will do a decent amount of damage to this boss. I think that 800% Havoc damage on paper does look like a lot, but it has a cooldown of 10 seconds, so it's going to be triggered once a rotation, and you'll notice that 800% Havoc damage, it's not the craziest thing ever. For Rosia's case, it would be like bouncing maybe 2 times, assuming that this is like level 10. It would be like using her liberation at level 10. That's like the sort of stuff that's going on over here. It'll maybe be like 100k, maybe like 90k per character. And when bosses have over like 1,000,000 HP and stuff like that, 800% looks like a lot. I don't really think it's going to be that significant. For example, right, a unit like Camellia, they're ephemeral, or they're nuke in their kit, deals like 460% more damage than even that. So it's kind of, you know, it is what it is, nothing too crazy. No other characters, unfortunately, will be able to activate it, but since everyone is still getting a baseline 15% damage increase, I think it is still going to be a pretty reasonable floor. We'll make sure to try it out with not that team, just to show what the average difficulty is looking like. The enemy on this side is a little bit annoying. The Sentry Construct is one of the easiest to break enemies in the game, but it can be a bit of an issue for a lot of melee-focused characters actually getting it into the broken state in the first place. So we will be trying out some more restricted team members to see just how annoying this boss is, because they do get rebalanced quite frequently depending on the content. On the second side, though, we have a shit ton of enemies. This is 5 separate enemies. I think this is going to be 2 separate waves with the Mech Abomination at the end, which is widely considered one of the easiest bosses. So I think as long as you're able to clear it AoE-wise, you shouldn't have too many issues. Why don't we go ahead and just demo a bit of like a worst-case team? And the team that I'm going to be using over here is actually going to be Gian, Shorekeeper, and Mortefi. Because
the battlefield is dynamic. Do not let your guard down.
This Gian is a little bit lacking compared to some other Gions that you might see. One of the main reasons for that is the fact that, well, he doesn't actually have a best-in-slot signature weapon on him. We're just going to be using Jinhsi's. I like using this one just because it gives me, you know, like a very authentic feeling. You know, we're not using the most powerful unit possible. It's a 1.0 unit, and we still have a pretty decent weapon on him, but we're still not reaching the ceiling of his damage. Mortifeet, also a 1.0 unit, is gonna have... Okay, we're just gonna be putting a Moonlit Clouds as well as a Static Mist. Let's give it a bit of a go and tackle that Sentry Construct, and we gotta remember to use our Echo skills.
Inferno.
All right. Hopefully it should go a little bit better here.
Finale. Tell truth from facade. Burn to ashes.
Got that cancel in. All right, here we go.
Unstoppable.
Why was he not? All right, and now you're seeing what it looks like when you don't grief your rotation. That looks a lot better.
As you wish.
The feeling of pain. Loading. Astral modulation.
Fury boils. Burn. Break. Tell truth from the sun. Feel my wrath.
That feels a lot better. Okay.
Let's do this and ready for battle. Fear no more.
And you can see over here what I'm talking about in terms of like his break bar. You absolutely destroy it within literally seconds.
You're no match. As you wish.
I engraft you new.
Fury boy.
And you might be wondering, oh, Saint, the damage on this team doesn't look that good. Wait until I show you this Mortifeet later. Wait until I show you him later.
I can take it. I can take it.
Oh my god.
Ordained. Astral modulation. Loading.
Fury boils. I can take it. Silence. Let's do this. Ready for battle. Finale. Fear no more.
You might be wondering why this team is not doing well.
Last breath.
We'll get the 3 stars real fast. And I'll show you why we had so many struggles with that one. This is going to be a bit of a learning lesson, boys. This is the sub DPS we were using with that Gion team.
Underway.
Looks pretty decent at first glance, right? Stats aren't too crazy. Yeah. That's why it took so long. I hope you guys understand that. So we did a couple of things with this clear. We had an unmaxed Gion, at least in the resonance skill. We're not using their signature weapon. And we are using, quite possibly, the worst built Mortifeet I've ever seen. It literally can't go lower than this in terms of your investment on your sub DPS. And Mortifeet does a lot of damage. This isn't mine, by the way. This is a viewer's account. He does a lot of damage, especially the more dupes you get on him. And so him being at a literal 1 on everything with no inherent skills and no upgrades means that everything he has up here means absolutely nothing. So we used an unbuilt character. What are his damage bonuses? He doesn't even have any fusion damage bonus either on his set. What are his 3 costs? I think they're both ER. What are you going to expect from that, ladies and gentlemen? And so if this is clearing, guys, the ceiling can really only be higher from here. Let's go ahead. Let's take this same exact team, and let's see how much better it does against AoE type of content. Because, like we've already said before, guys, this is one of the worst Mortifeets in existence.
What a claim.
I engraft you new.
Fury boy.
Yeah, it's the Ice Wolves, bro. I know the Ice Wolves are crazy. I just didn't expect them to one-shot like that. That was wild, bro.
Let's do it. You're wide open another way. Fear no more.
All right, much better rotation that time.
You're not bad, huh?
Oh!
As you wish.
In war.
Definitely make sure to build your sub DPS for a situation like this, because having all of that additional chip damage is going to be really, really helpful.
Stop.
Really helpful. So it took us almost a minute to clear this side. Let's see if we're able to finish off the boss in the other side.
Loading. Astral modulation.
I'm hoping that the abomination is made of paper.
As you burn to ashes. Let's do this another. You're wide open. Fear no more.
I think he'll get it. He'll get it easy.
Worry not.
Leave me alone.
He'll get it easy.
Loading.
And again, this is with the worst built Mortifi on the server.
Do this and ready for battle. Tell truth.
Oh dear, we completely wait, we kind of fucked up our rotation over here. Uh-oh, I might have messed up. We might have to redo this. Ooh, yeah, I kind of fucked up my rotation there real fast. Ooh.
Diminish.
Yeah, you guys get the message. So if I don't mess up my rotation over there and my Mortifi is built, we definitely do 3-star clear that. But I'm kind of done playing it with a bit of a janky team. We all know it would have cleared if this guy had maybe even 50% of his skill tree filled out. That probably would have made it absolutely 10 to 20 seconds left. We'll just say I did it with that team. You all already know. Now let's just see what it looks like using a bit of a different lineup. Let's just try out what does the meta fusion team look like when we're giving it a bit of a go. And just see whether or not the new characters have kept up with the TOA reset. Don't worry, I didn't press the dodge button there. That is kind of annoying. Because yes, I would prefer to just tank that attack and then get my true side attack off. But you don't really get a choice. You don't get much of a choice in the matter. You don't get much of a choice in the matter, unfortunately.
Same actor, different role. Right behind you.
Together we vanish. Clear as the blaze.
There we go. And that's what it looks like when you actually get all of your AoEs to finally fucking hit. You will, however, probably not get Lupa's Pack Hunt special attack when you're, you know, running this team. At least until you get to this second rotation. But once the boss comes up, yeah, you're pretty much in the clear.
Together we vanish.
Bro is like permanently broken.
Mind's eye.
This is why people consider the Mech Abomination to be the easiest in the game. Just so you guys know.
Take full.
Burn to dust! Triumph at the theater! Die, evil!
So yeah, that'll be that with the fusion team. It can be a little bit frustrating at first, getting all of those mobs and all of that grouping to actually happen so that you can deliver those big blows, but it doesn't seem like the floor is excessively tanky. Sometimes it's a little bit up to like random grouping, sometimes you can influence the mobs, but yeah, if you're able to hit all of them at once, it's definitely not a challenge at all. I don't think either of these are particularly much of a challenge. They both have the stipulation of if you use intro and outro skills, you will break these guys in literally seconds. They have some of the weakest vibration strength I've ever seen on bosses before. They break like paper. Now, let's get on to the left side and take a look at what we're looking at over here. So, first things first is enemy fusion resistance is going to be decreasing. So this is kind of like the Lupa Branch Chang Li floor. And it has a good buff. When Resonators use an intro skill, their attack increases by 5% per second, stacking up to 4 times. And then at max stacks, they gain a 40% fusion damage bonus. The effect ends when the Resonator is switched off the field. Straight up, at a baseline, every single character is going to be able to get 20% attack. Every single one is able to get 20% attack, which is nice. And then if you're a fusion character, you get a 40% damage boost on top of it. We'll see how effective this buff is on non-fusion teams. So let's go ahead and see the boss that we're going against. It's the monkey. Also, one of the easiest bosses in the game that you can pretty much hit with every single attack. So let's just go ahead and see what it looks like when we use who hasn't gotten a lot of attention for a while. I think I know who. How long has it been since we've seen these two in action, boys?
The experiment
Good old
begins.
Zhang Liao and Yinlin. With Zhang Liao on Stonard and Yinlin on... Okay, clearly... we hate this character. Hey, join the club. And then we'll just throw her a random Moonlit Cloud set. And let's just see how this one goes. We all know that she has way too much ER than necessary. The Zhang Liao has a Stonard, a 4-star weapon.
The experiment begins.
Let's see how this clear ends up looking. Oh, we're kind of getting our ass beat. But yeah, we'll be able to get that big old attack buff, which is going to be pretty nice.
I've had enough. Get lost. Back off. My field.
Variable elimination. Pierce through the stars.
And let's see it.
Exploit. Prime.
I forgot how satisfying this guy is to play.
Complete overhaul. Exploit. Prime.
I see why this character is so popular.
Conditions up.
He really is extremely satisfying.
Diminish. No mercy.
Don't blink.
Low. I engraft you new. Tear them to pieces.
That felt really smooth.
My field of
Variable elimination. Verity. Confined within limits. Exploit. Prime. Reconfiguration.
And here we go.
Reconfiguration.
And as you can see, we're pretty much just cooking this guy.
Disruption complete.
We're pretty much just fucking eliminating this dude.
stay calm. Yeah, in war with time. Tear them to
And remember, this is 4-star weapon stuff.
now that's strange. It's
4-star weapon. Nothing too crazy over here.
Variable elimination. Pierce through the stars.
4-star weapon plus a sub DPS who is dealing literally no damage
No rush.
because they have
Impatient ones will fall right
200%
into
ER
our lap.
and 3 costs that aren't providing any damage bonus. It kind of only gets better from there. And as you can see, right, still getting a pretty decent chunk of bonuses from this buff. Hitting 200k Zhang Liao liberations is kind of nice. I guess as a brief summary of the left side floor, I don't think it's any issue at all. It is a little bit tankier than other floors from the perspective of every single time the monkey shows up, it has more HP than other bosses because it's one of the easiest bosses in the game to hit. It's almost impossible to not hit this guy with an attack when you use a character. That's why it's like kind of, he's naturally a little bit more tanky, and you see that pretty much every reset that he's in. Much like the Mech Abomination. So moving on to the right side now, we're gonna have a buff of Resonator's attack is increased by 20%. And when Resonators inflict arrow erosion on enemies, the active Resonator in the team gains an additional 40% crit damage for 15 seconds. This is the Chikona buff, but it also comes with just a flat 20% increase for every single character. This might be the best TOA reset we've had from the perspective of all the actual buffs have some effect regardless of which unit you're playing. Every single floor of this TOA has a buff that you can at least partially activate and gain some benefit from. There is no buff in this TOA that is completely restricted to one element or one damage type. And I'm gonna be honest, I like that a lot. I think that this might be one of the easiest TOAs for a lot of people, and especially for newer players that might not have the widest roster to stretch because, well, you can use literally everybody. There's no concerns at all. Why don't we just go ahead? Let's go try out a Jinhsi team over here and just see how it goes.
May I pray for anything specific?
Yeah, let's just do a Jinhsi team real fast. We're against the Dragon of Dirge, so do keep in mind he is one of the more annoying enemies in the game. Let's see how Jinhsi holds up along with Jija for version 1.1 and 1.2. Let's see how this lineup is still doing.
Hopefully,
Do we got a second variation? We do. Let's give it a bit of a go. Here we go. Oh, we gotta restart again because Jinhsi has a cooldown on her outro skill. Do make sure that when you're doing TOA runs with Jinhsi, you keep that cooldown in mind because it doesn't persist. It persists through resets. So make sure you take a bit of a break between your runs so that cooldown can actually occur. There we go. Now we get our free outro. We go over to our Jeddah, right? And then I'm gonna go over to Verena.
Life isn't everything.
Bro, this guy is nuts.
Heaven ordained.
Make sure we get our full rotation off. Then go back to Jeddah.
Here comes a helper.
And then back to Jinhsi.
Fast in starlight. Evil be cleansed.
No crits. We might be allergic to them, boys.
Witness the art's true form. Bask in the sunlight.
But yeah, you're probably noticing. Damn. Looks pretty strong. That's because it is.
Oh, stars, heed my calling. The sky beckons. Sacred light.
And we're still getting a pretty damn good time when we miss like half of her crits.
Together we fight.
I legitimately think we've missed almost all of them, and we're still getting a 1 minute clear.
Evil be cleansed.
Yeah, so we hit like 2 100Ks, and we're still getting 1 minute clears. That's how easy it is. This might be one of the most relatable TOA resets we've had in recent history. Pretty much none of the floors really require a crazy amount of like work to get around, except maybe the Sentry Construct. But that's going to be a situation with the Construct where I guess if you're bringing an unbuilt character, then you'll have some issues. Because this guy will fall over from a light breeze and then just be ready for a smackdown with pretty much any member on the roster. The AoE on the second floor is also potentially a bit rough as well, but you might have to get a couple of resets just to make sure that your attacks land. But damage will not be an issue. It's just a matter of, will you be able to group the enemies so you can actually damage them in the first place? Aside from that, I mean, the TOA reset has been super manageable. It's either very, very big enemies that are easy to hit, or a couple of AoE waves where the enemies don't have that much HP. I think it's a solid reset. I think it's pretty simple. I think that any unit on the roster should be able to clear because every unit in the game can benefit from these buffs. If anything, the only unit that appears to be fucked over on this reset, the only unit seems to have some problems is actually Kartithia because she doesn't scale off of attack. But even Kartithia still gets a bonus because she can get the arrow erosion critical damage amp or the critical damage increase even if she's not getting the attack bonus. So it's like there's something for everybody when it comes to this lineup. Everyone benefits in some way. Very fair buffs. One of the best implementations that I think Kuro has done in recent history. That'll be that. Let me know what you all think, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, this isn't my account, so don't tell me to level Mortify, and peace out.